Pompey Sound. Updates, the latest from Fratton Park, on the hour, every hour. Fueled by Piglet's Pantry. Click pigletspantry.co.uk to get your fill.
Controversy and confusion raged around Pompey's third friendly of the close season, when the game against Crawley was called off hours before kick-off due to a succession of deluges which left the pitch waterlogged. The referee made it to the ground and decided that the pitch was unplayable sometime before midday, but the news was not made public for some time afterwards, meaning that some fans were already on their way to the ground when they knew for the first time the game was off. The decision sparked anger and criticism of Crawley Town officials and the match officials and the various media that might have been used to alert spectators earlier in the day. At Pompey's Sound we were in the dark until we caught a titbit on a new feed at 1:45 p.m, which we double-checked for authenticity before passing the news on. There was general agreement amongst many fans on social media that it was understandable but extraordinary that a match should be called off for wet weather reasons in July.
Crawley have promised that they will refund all ticket sales to fans, or possibly, if the fixture can be rescheduled. I doubt it, because we've got Reading coming up hard on the heels, and you don't want back-to-back fixtures as we're getting closer and closer to the start of the season because of the strain that it puts on legs and the possibility of injuries occurring again. So that game is probably just gone. Now, it's important that as fans we separate our disappointment at having no football on a Saturday afternoon, where we thought we were going to get a decent friendly because they're second tier, Crawley, and that would have been a proper test. One step up from the tests that we've had so far. Disappointment that there's no football where there was going to be some football. And anger at inconvenience. If the game had been called off the night before, I gather that the rain was pretty heavy overnight, and therefore there ought to have been an announcement that there will be a pitch inspection. This is what should have happened. There would have been an announcement widely disseminated so everyone knew that there will be a pitch inspection, and the likelihood of the game going forward is no more than 50-50. So watch this space before you fill your thermos flask and set off if you're a Pompey fan. Or indeed, if you're also a Crawley fan. Don't know where the referee was coming from. It could have been a local referee, as it was only a friendly. Didn't necessarily need to be somebody from Barnsley. Don't know who he was or the match officials were. The decision apparently was pretty easy. I imagine the pitch had standing water. We do play in the mud. Then again, of course, bear this in mind, Crawley don't want to cut their pitch up before the season even starts. Nobody would want that. Was there an alternative venue possible? No. You couldn't suddenly divert it to a stadium or a playing area, which would need to be fenced off 10 miles up the road. We're not that desperate for a friendly match, are we? We wanted a friendly match, but fans probably wanted it more than the players, actually, come to think, apart from those players who had something to prove. So let's touch on that for a second. What does Ferguson do now? He's been using these games to prove to John Messino and the rest of the coaching staff at Pompey that he is worth taking a risk on, and that his fitness and his strength and his durability don't have the question marks against them that they have had for the vast bulk of his professional career. So he's left a little bit in the lurch. The Reading game coming up is going to be a good test. Obviously, it's another away game. There are other things around hanging in there around all of this. It was wet around Fratton, obviously, yesterday evening and through the night. We've had a new pitch laid at the training ground, if memory serves. And I thought I heard towards the end of the season that they were relaying the pitch at Fratton Park as well. Whether that was to take into account John Messino's concerns, which he only voiced once, that the pitches are stickier and because of the weather and the changes in the weather, and that it could have contributed to the many injuries that Pompey suffered. So are they relaying the pitch? Are they relaying the earth underneath the pitch, the topsoil area, with a different mix of sand and soil, or however they do it now in this modern era, because they wanted the pitch to be better drained, because they didn't want the pitch to be so holding. and possibly contribute to the many injuries that Pompey had last season. So all these things are complicating factors. We must be pleased that the game against Crawley was called off, because if it had gone ahead and the pitch was dubious and one or two Pompey players had picked up injuries, partly as a result of the surface, the playing surface, then we would have been furious and we would have said that it shouldn't have been played and it wasn't worth it. And why did it go ahead? As it is, a great many fans have something else to moan about, which is that the decision was taken too late. It can't have been the right decision. Look at the inconvenience that we've suffered. The players will be more ring rusty than they might have been for day one of the season against Oxford. So plenty of things for the people who like to have a moan to moan about. On a personal level, we had a whip round and managed to scrape together the £5 that you needed to watch the game on Pompey Plus in the studio, which is how we fancied doing it, so we could keep people apprised and also do an early match report. We bought our ticket at 1:36 p.m, which was, we understand, an hour and a half after the game was called off. So this is our moan. The game's called off around about midday, if not earlier than that. But Pompey Plus was still selling £5 tickets to watch the game on video, live, an hour and a half later. And I'm talking at the moment, recording this piece for our podcast and for our news service, at 4:25 in the afternoon. And on that Pompey Plus page, where you buy those subscriptions and match passes, it still says Crawley versus Pompey, full match coverage, buy video pass. Click here. Okay, when you click on it, nothing happens, but that's what it still says up on the website. And we've just been to our bank account and it shows where the £5.20 went out. That was the total. I don't know what the 20 pence is for, but they told us we were being charged £5, fine. But £5.20 went out. Don't mind about that at all. And we're not that miffed, but the money hasn't gone back into our bank account. So that is 3 hours after we bought a ticket for a match, which from a provider who knew, or some people at the provider's end of things, knew wasn't going to take place. They sold us a ticket. And 3 hours after they sold us a ticket for a match that never will be, we ain't got our money back. And that's that's us moaning on a personal level. And again, we're not that bothered. We're not made of money, but £5, if we never see it again, it won't kill us. But you'd expect it back, wouldn't you? Surely all they've got to do is press a button somewhere in amongst all the internet knobs and buttons and tweets and woofers that they have, the people who make and provide the content for websites. Not going to bother to keep you posted on that one. Just thank you very much indeed for listening to our private beefette. It's a mini beef, but beef nevertheless it is. And we are disappointed that we don't have a match to bring you. We're disappointed that we don't have a match to analyse, that we don't have a chance to get another glimpse of what a fantastic protege Adrian Segacic is turning into, how consummate a defender, if he was going to play, Matthews is. And a chance for Ferguson to shine again and show that he's capable of staying fit in the furnace that is the Championship. So that's it really. Did the Crawley versus Pompey game never happened?
Elsewhere in Pompey news, it's being reported as an exclusive by Football League World that Pompey have rejected a £2 million bid from Preston for Callum Lang. Lang was one of the stars of last season, culminating in his 4-goal-in-the-game performance as the highlight of a season which, though it ended in injury, saw him score 10 and finished Pompey's second most dangerous goal scorer. Lang is contracted to Fratton Park until next summer at the very least, with an option of a further 12 months added to his contract. Preston's lack of a cutting edge in attack has been highlighted as one of the main challenges facing manager Paul Heckingbottom. At present, there is no indication as to whether Preston might return with a bigger bid.
Well, now you're talking. This is exactly the kind of transfer rumour that we want, beating a path to our door. We have players that other clubs want and are prepared to pay pretty fat 7-figure sums to obtain their signature. And we've got them under contract for another year with another year's option on top of that. We want that club to come. If there's anything in this rumour, and it smells pretty substantial, doesn't it to you? it's pretty likely that they picked up the phone and said, we've got 2 million burning a hole in our pocket, and we said that's not enough, then if that's all true, then it's surely more likely than not that they'll come back and say, well, all right, we can go to 2 3/4. And Pompey then might say 4. And they'll come back and say 3.5. Oh, go on then, 4. And we'll go, no, you could have had the 4 before, just after the 2. So now it's 5. I know these things happen in football because I happened to be on holiday one year, some time ago, with the owner of Crystal Palace, who told me about some of the wheelings and dealings that go on and how people talk about millions and tens of millions of pounds just as easy as the rest of us talk to our 10-year-old nephew about a pound. So, they want Callum Lang. I'm not surprised, are you? We want Callum Lang. Oh, wait a minute, we've got him. It makes you feel so good when other clubs are after your players. It makes you a little bit nervous that we sell them, and we don't need to. We really don't need to sell Callum Lang. He's pivotal. I mean, until we find out what we've really got in Adrian Segacic, and it looks pretty good, he could be the most pivotal player, alongside Colby Bishop, in our entire squad. So we want to keep him. But how wonderful it is. What a great credential it feels like to all of us connected with Pompey, whatever our connection, whether we're just plain old, good old fans, staff, owners, they must get a kick out of it. Oh, is that Michael Eisner on Zoom? Yes, Michael, somebody wants to give you £2 million for Callum Lang. I don't need it. I don't need £2 million like I don't need a hole in the head. That's a good position to be in. I can't remember the last time somebody came calling with a fat cheque book for one of our players. Can you? It's a question for Steve Bone. When we listen to the wit and wisdom, the wonder that is Steve Bone and his absolute grasp of every factual thing connected with Pompey in the last 45 years. So he'll know, and I'll ask him. I'll be glad to ask him. It will feel good to ask him. Callum Lang, wanted by Preston, maybe others. Congratulations to Football League World on that exclusive, if it is an exclusive. Congratulations on that rumour, if there's any truth in it. We hope that there is. Congratulations to Callum Lang for being such a good player that this seems plausible. And congratulations to you and me for being Pompey fans. We've earned a moment like this. But don't sell him, for God's sake.
In other news, one of last season's heroes, Matt Ritchie, who started 27 times and appeared in 41 games in Pompey's successful campaign to remain in the Championship, is still looking for a new club. The football world was alerted that he was on his way out of Fratton Park when he failed to make the plane to Slovakia for Pompey's summer training. It was assumed he was staying at home to begin his search for a new club. The fact that there has been no news or even rumour of any interest has provoked speculation that the asking wages that he's looking for may be either beyond the reach of interesting clubs or a salary they are simply not prepared to meet.
You have to feel for Matt Ritchie and his family. They made the move down from the northeast, where presumably they were living a grand life. He was with a top Premier League club. He wasn't making the breakthrough into the first team squad that he wanted. He was reaching a certain age. And then his home club came calling. This was perfect. He not only moved everybody down here, he is rumoured to have bought a lovely spread in the New Forest area, which presumably will be a source of income for him when football is no longer his paymaster. But the day is apparently getting closer when football is no longer his paymaster, because it would appear that not only has nobody come forward and said, well, what is going to be the deal with Ritchie? Are you charging anything? You've got him for another year. Or is he allowed to just leave? Can we have him for nothing or for whatever he wants as a golden hello? And hello, Matt Ritchie's people, your agent and what have you. What sort of wages would he be prepared to drop to? Because we can't pay him, obviously, the kind of salary that he would have been on at Newcastle. And we don't think that we should be paying the salary that he was on when he was at Portsmouth, which was presumably a good deal less than he was getting at Newcastle. And that is going to make it very difficult for him to move on without taking a bit of a blow to his pride. If he has just bought a business, and it's nobody's business but his, if he has, down our way in agriculture or landscape of some sort, then he is not going to want to move too far away from it. I would have thought he's going to want to concentrate a lot of his time on that. So who is there in our vicinity who might find a use for a player who can do what Matt Ritchie can still do when called upon? Surely not. Surely not, he wouldn't dream, would he, of going up the road? Oh, Matt. I'm making this up. I have no information whatsoever. I'm just looking at his circumstances. Like we at Pompey Sound were able to predict that Pompey's final friendly would probably be a home match against a Dutch side, which was based not too far away from Amsterdam International Airport, because of the close links between Southampton Airport and Amsterdam, meaning that they could actually set off mid-morning, get to Fratton with an hour and a half to spare before kick-off, and be home again in time to watch their equivalent of Michael McIntyre on the telly. We got that one right. There are very few clubs, Championship or top-end Championship, who would be able to pay the wages that Matt Ritchie wants and who would enable him to carry on living at home in the New Forest, if there's any truth in that. And if there isn't, I apologise. And if there is, I apologise for the fact that we shouldn't know it, but we do, and we're in the business of passing on relevant information, which is all this is. So, Matt Ritchie, good luck to you, and so long, and thanks for all the fish. What does he mean by that?